Alright guys, what's going on? This is Chase fan number 9 here, and I'm coming at you with another video. In this one, I'm going to be taking a look at the paint schemes from this past weekend's races at Road America for both Xfinity and Cup, but they'll be in separate videos as always. Since this past weekend was July 4th weekend, there were obviously a bunch of patriotic schemes for both the Xfinity and Cup race, so let's take a look at them, shall we? So without further ado, here we go. And also, not to mention that there were some driving their typical, regular, standard paint schemes as always. Anyways, with that said, here we go. First up, we got Quinn Half in the number 00 8-ball chocolate whiskey Chevrolet Camaro. And it's taking a load. There it goes. We've seen this one already. He's ran it a couple times, in fact, throughout the course of this season so far, so not gonna bother. Brad Keselowski drove the number 2 Snap-on Ford Mustang. It's got silver on the front this time. Everything else is just the same, but I like it though. Austin Dillon drove the number 3 Dow Chevrolet. It's got some parts on here that kind of resemble a military aircraft with the different patches here, where you can see the rivets here. That looks pretty nice. Got black patches here where the sponsors are, and you got military degree equivalency here on the side with Dow. You also got part of the American flag sticking out and flapping in the wind. And you also got a bit of it cut off here to mark the outline of the car number. And you got another part of the American flag going from the back of the car along to the bottom of the front of the car with the 3 stars. And you got some blue on the front along with the red and white as well. So overall, looks nice. Kevin Harvick, we've seen him drive this paint scheme before, the number 4 #Busch Light Apple Ford Mustang. He ran it last year at Michigan and in the All-Star race at Bristol, so I can pass on that. Kyle Larson drove the number 5 HendrickCars.com Chevrolet. Ryan Newman drove a very patriotic number 6 Color Generators paint scheme. It's got, well, aside from the rest of the car being mostly blue, you got like this patch here of like red, dark blue, and pieces of the blue which you see on the rest of the car, and you got the stars lining the side here of the car. You got different streaks of red and blue down here as well, and they go on the side. If they wrapped around the car either this way or the other way, I wouldn't mind it, but actually, no, I like it the way it is, because you got blue here on the back. Why should I bother with that anyway? Corey LaJoie drove the number 7 Diamond Creek paint scheme with a little bit of a patriotic twist. You got the red and white design here along the side with a couple stars here and there. So, okay, I'll give them credit. Same thing as the one we've seen before, but with a patriotic touch to it. Tyler Reddick drove the number 8 Kalahari Resorts Camaro for a second consecutive weekend. Hey, here's the winner from this past Sunday, Chase Elliott. Not to mention that he's starting on the pole this weekend, but in a different paint scheme. While last weekend he drove his typical Napa scheme. I want to see him win more races in other paint schemes that are not his Napa scheme. Not that I have anything against it, I just want to see him win more in other paint schemes. Different paint schemes. Anyway. Here's Eric Almirola in the number 10 Pit Boss Ford Mustang. Now this has patriotism written all over it with this paint scheme. You got lots of red and white patches here along the side. I think Almirola drove this car at Coda. Yeah, I think he did. And I think the part where the red and white is, I think it was like a gray or something. Now it's filled up by mostly the American flag with the red and white and a couple stars here and there, while the rest of the car is like a bluish color. You know that you got blue here on the hood, and you got blue here along the top and the back part of the car. So overall, pretty cool patriotic scheme nonetheless. Denny Hamlin drove his typical FedEx freight scheme. Ryan Blaney drove the body armor car. It was really cool to see this car again, this paint scheme again. Chase Briscoe drove the number 14 Ford Performance Racing School with Racing School paint scheme, but with high point on the quarter panel. So nothing much. Well, no updates to this scheme. Chris Buescher's I definitely liked. Well, yeah, I did like this one. You got blue here along the front, and you got it here. You got these blue these what do you call it, diagonal lines. And you got blue along the bottom here, while the rest of the car was mostly the American flag. So overall, this was a pretty interesting scheme. This would be NASCAR diecast worthy right here. I like how the American flag just fills up the rest of the car here. It looks pretty interesting. I like it though, don't get me wrong. Anyways, moving on, Kyle Busch drove the number 18 Skittles America Mix Toyota Camry. We've seen this one before, so I'll pass on that. It's about time Martin Truex Jr. updated his number 19 Bass Pro Shop Tracker Boats patriotic scheme. Paint scheme, well, the only update that they made to it was the fact that the number is no longer all red. It's now mostly all white with the red outline. And I like how this part of the car has mostly stars on it. This blue patch here. You also got some white stars here along the bottom too. So I'll give Truex some credit for changing up the paint scheme for once. I'll give him that. Christopher Bell drove the number 20 Sirius XM Toyota Camry. We've seen this one already. Matty D drove the Dutch Boy Menards Ford Mustang, which you've seen before. Logano, typical Shell Pennzoil scheme. Bubba Wallace drove the number 23 Dr. Pepper Toyota Camry, which we've seen before. I forgot where he ran it, but I believe he ran it at Dover. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, I think it was Dover, but I could be wrong. So, yeah, that's pretty much all to say. I don't know if it's me, but I think these white streaks here on the bottom look new right here. But maybe that's just me, of course. Anyhow, moving on. William Byron in his number typical 24 Liberty University scheme started on the pole for this one. And was I honestly surprised he ran this paint scheme this past weekend? Nah. Austin Cindric drove the number 33 Pertec Ford Mustang. It's basically the same thing as his regular scheme, but this time it's got the red and white from the American flag here. It looks like one giant American flag, that's for sure. The car does, with the blue here, the stars along the side, and the red and white from the flag here. And some of it gets cut off here because of the outline for the number, but that's okay with me. It doesn't really bother me, to say the least. So yeah, and I like the white rims too, I'll give them that. Michael McDowell drove his typical number 34 Love's Travel Stop Ford Mustang. Ryan Preece drove the number 37 Kroger Maxwell House Chevrolet Camaro. Aside from the car being mostly blue and white, these red and white designs or streaks or whatever, they sort of kind of gave this paint scheme a patriotic vibe to it. They could have painted the rims white, but oh well. So yeah, I kind of like this one, not gonna lie. So yeah. Anthony Alfredo in the number 38 SpeedyCash.com Ford Mustang. Cole Custer drove his typical Haas tooling scheme. Eric Jones drove the number 43 SCAG Chevrolet Camaro. It kind of looks like his Armor All scheme, but with S or SCAG, I should call it, on the side. And on the bottom here, it's got these, it looks like the pattern of a tiger almost, with the black and orange. And you got, of course, black here along the top and along the side of the front here and along the bottom. So not too bad, to say the least. And the rest of the car is obviously orange, so yeah. Imagine if they did this tiger stripes design for the entire car. That would look interesting, but well, I would have to see what the others say about it though. Anyways, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. drove the number 47 Kroger Ballpark Chevrolet Camaro. Aside from the white and the blue for most of the car, you got a giant ballpark hot dog in a bun here. And you got ballpark's buns and rolls as well. And you got the different patches of red, yellow, and white as well. So it's an interesting sponsor combination, but I'll go with it. Next up, we got Alex Bowman in his typical ally scheme. Justin Haley drove the number 77 FOE scheme. We've seen this one before with the white, all-white scheme, but with the patches of blue and red, obviously, and you got blue here on the bottom as well. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Even the back panel is blue as well, and of course the red car number. They could have painted the rims white to match the entire car, but oh well. Ty Dillon, it was really nice to see him back and in a different paint scheme. Drove the number 96 Lurlock Toyota Camry. Not sure what Lurlock is, but I guess it has something to do with fish. Got a fishing hook here on the quarter panel. Got several fishes with different letters in it. I'm not sure what they say, but they look like people's names, first names to be exact. And you also got some water splashing along the side. So really interesting sponsor here. And as for the rest of the car, you got white on the hood with some blue here along the side. Got these patches of green here, as well as on the lettering and on the fishes here, and a green car number too, which looks interesting. I do like it though. Don't get me wrong. It's a really interesting sponsor for sure. Really interesting paint scheme. Anyways, last paint scheme for Cup, Daniel Soares in the number 99 Good Sam Chevrolet Camaro. The only thing that made this paint scheme look patriotic was the the recognizable red and white scheme here along the side with the blue patches. What else? Oh god. You got also the stars here, and the rest of the car, it's mostly red. And of course you got different patches of blue, of course, and white here along the front. Oh my gosh, I didn't notice that other white star here. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And also, if you look very closely, you can kind of see some star designs here in the back on this part as well. And it looks kind of like an American flag flapping in the wind if you look very closely at it. So yeah, it looks nice, not gonna lie. And I'll leave it at that. Anyways, that's going to do it for Cup. It's time to take a look at the paint schemes from the Henry 180 now. Alright, on to the next video. Alright, peace.